Dan the man is joining me via Zoom. We didn't anticipate doing this again for
Nope.
a week or so, except obviously before Elimination Chamber, we were going to probably do some predictions. But, you know, there's some special circumstances that have come aboard here
Are
that we
you doing
have to
okay,
talk about.
Tyler? Are you doing okay
No,
today?
I'm not.
Are you
Not at
doing better
all.
than yesterday?
Mildly, mildly better than yesterday. But no, I have a lot of things that I'm going to say that are not kind, and that are gonna probably be the meanest and most blunt things that I've said on this channel. I try to keep things as positive as I can. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it today, but we'll see. So before I get there to where I'm basically just gonna explode,
Please
I
don't.
want to know, Dan. You're not as big of a Cody Rhodes fan as I am. You haven't necessarily been there for the whole Cody Rhodes journey like I've been since he debuted. You know, but you've watched his documentary. You've been here for the last couple of years. I assume you have either seen some stuff or at least kind of remotely heard of some stuff he did in AEW. You kind of know that story a little bit. Where do you sit on all of this that's happened from Friday until now? Um, just again, because it's been nuts, it's been unexpected, and you were kind of on the train of you don't want Cody to finish his story in this year's WrestleMania. So where are your thoughts at right now?
I didn't want him to not finish it this way. I will say that. Um, it's interesting because he extended right to the top of the card, top baby face of the company, face of the company in a sense. Whatever accolades you want to throw there, well deserved. Just so much fun to watch. All his moves, Cody Cutter, just electric in the ring, fought with a torn pec, still did a marvelous job, still won that third match with Rollins. We could sing honestly both of their praises all day because they're both just great in ring workers, great on the mic. Um, and it was, again, it's not that I didn't wish he wasn't going to finish. It's not like I didn't think he could finish it at WrestleMania. I was always just more of we have more stories we can tell with Roman. I didn't want this story this way though. Like I will say that a couple weeks before Raw, we got Rock coming out saying, "Hey, what would it be like being at the table?" Sure, cool. Part of me was always like, maybe we overreact to that, but maybe he's gonna challenge Roman. Maybe that's our WrestleMania match. That was pre-Punk injury. That was pre-Lesnar not appearing at Rumble, etc. Probably no Lesnar at WrestleMania as of right now. And then they went with Rhodes winning the Rumble. So I'm like, okay, I guess we're gonna get Rock Roman at some other point. Maybe we get them at SummerSlam. Maybe we get them kicking off Raw when Raw goes to Netflix next year. Maybe we get them WrestleMania. Myriad of things. The fact that we got swerved so hard last Friday when Cody was like, "Now here you go, I'll shake your hand." I really, really wish we knew what Rock said to Cody when they embraced. Um, you know, part of it's. I ultimately think we're going to be okay, but the fact that we got here to this point the way we did is just messy. Again, Rock basically challenged Roman, didn't fully challenge Roman, but made it sound like he was going to challenge him. But then, Cody goes through winning the Rumble, points to the sign, points at Roman. A lot of that's put into place to where it's like, okay, I guess we are going to do Cody Roman at WrestleMania again this year. Not a problem. I know that will be. I know that would have been a great match. I know it would have, done wonders. And I'm even on the side of, or I don't even agree with the side of, um, Rock came to save WrestleMania this year. There is, yeah, no Punk. Brock probably will be showing up, which shows the card up a little bit, but there's still so many stories right now in WWE where I don't think Brock is hopefully not that full of himself where he's like, oh, I gotta save WrestleMania now, because he seems to be a smart enough guy. He seems to be in tune with the WWE for so long to realize, hey, there's so many more things that can happen. So I don't even quite agree with he's saving WrestleMania, but at the same time, again, I just don't think it should have gone the way it was going to go. If we're going to do Rock Roman, just stay that course all the way through. Give us a different Rumble winner. Make it Gunther. Make it Austin Theory again. Make it Pat McAfee. Make it all. I don't care who's Rumble winner at that point. I kind of wondered out loud when we did our reactions last week too. It's like, did they make the change? Last second because Punk was hurt for Rhodes, but then so many other things were in place after Rhodes won with the pyro with the sign pointing at Roman, where it's like that doesn't quite seem like that seemed like he knew what to do when because he knew he was going to win kind of thing. So it's like did he know at that point that he was still going to give his match to Rock to Roman and stuff? So it's just I don't know. At the end of the day, I think we're gonna be okay. Let them tell their stories. It's just a very, very messy road, unnecessarily that we got to for this point. And the fact that and I get people hating on this, hating on the way we got here and stuff. The fact that we're getting death threats to Rick's family members and other things, like that's a little too far. Like I get it. We got here in a horrible way, so unnecessary. But I'm not going that far as like we don't need to be going to death threat level here. Okay, come on. Like passion is one thing, but that's just no need for that. But I just unnecessarily messy road to get here if this was the plan all along.
Okay.
But we're gonna be okay, Tyler. We're gonna be okay.
Dan, you might be okay, but there is only one direction that will make 85% of this fan base be okay. And this isn't a drill, right? Like this isn't, oh, we wish LA Knight would have won Money in the Bank. This isn't, oh, we wish, DIY would have won the tag belts on Monday. This isn't, oh, we wish Trick Williams would have won the NXT championship on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day that was. It was a phenomenal match, by the way. I don't know if you saw it.
Yes.
Oh, goodness, great. Been a rough weekend for me, by the way. My two favorite wrestlers in the company right now both took massive L's back-to-back nights. But it's fine. I'm fine. I'm not fine. But
No, I know you're not. You're geared up here. I can tell.
So there's only one thing that's going to make this okay. This is not a drill. This is not a rehearsal. This is not a, oh, we think you should have gone in a different direction. This is not a Cody lost at WrestleMania 39, but we're willing to hear you out. There is no booking decision, singular booking decision that has been so catastrophically bad in such a short amount of time than this decision. Let's look at some bad booking decisions in the past. Let's look at Hulk Hogan beating Yokozuna for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. I think it was 9 or 10, whatever it was, when it should have been Brett. So Brett loses the belt to Yokozuna, and then Yokozuna immediately accepts a challenge from Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan walks away with the belt. So you can look at that and say that that was a really bad idea. But they put the belt on Hulk Hogan, who still was the biggest star in the industry at that point. Whether you argue whether he should have been or not is that's up for debate. A lot of people still loved Hulk Hogan. Now, people our age did not love Hulk Hogan anymore, but the kids still loved him. Bret Hart wasn't quite all the way there yet as the megastar that he would turn out to be. Again, you could argue whether he should have been or not, but that was the decision that they made. And it was a very bad one. But at least you can look at it and say that there are positives that you could take out of it. Seth Rollins beating The Fiend by disqualification or match stoppage inside Hell in a Cell. Probably the worst booking decision of all time before the one that was made on Friday. I mean, you cannot tell me that that made any sense. You can't tell me that the wrestlers liked it. You can't tell me the fans liked it. You can't tell me that legends of the industry liked it. There's nobody that liked that decision. However, while you can argue that that ruined The Fiend permanently, I don't think that match was the one that completely ruined The Fiend. I think The Fiend losing to Goldberg was an even worse decision than him losing to Seth. Quite frankly, I think that when you tell me
that was
that
basically a squash.
You tell me that you can take 19 curb stomps, yes, that's a real number in one match, and still not stay down, but one jackhammer does the trick, then what you're basically telling me is that the jackhammer is imploding everybody's internal organs and no one should ever kick out of it ever again. That's what you just told me. It made no sense. It still didn't make sense. Goldberg was in his 50s, and you just destroyed the best thing your company had. That booking decision made less sense than The Fiend losing in Hell in a Cell. But your plan was to do Roman versus Goldberg. That was your money match. Now, you could argue that that shouldn't have been your money match, but let's be honest. What alternatives did you have? There was nobody else in the company that would have filled that spot better than Goldberg or Roman Reigns. Now, we obviously got Goldberg versus Braun Strowman because of COVID and everything, and Roman stepped away due to health concerns because he had leukemia. That's all fine, well and good. But it just, no. Like, yeah, you might have argued Roman Reigns versus The Fiend would have been a little bit better, but in terms of bringing in viewership, maybe that is the solution. This decision by WWE has no positives. I do not care what anyone says about Rock versus Roman being the bigger match. I will tell you right now, it's not the bigger match. Cody Rhodes is such a big star. I'm not saying he's on the level of The Rock. Of course he's not. But Rock versus Roman Reigns is going to bring in an audience that WWE fans don't need. Roman versus Cody is paying off a 2-year storyline. Honestly, probably more like an 11-year storyline, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Like this is the culmination of a whole career. This is the culmination of 2 whole careers, Dusty included. This is a culmination of 50 years of storytelling. This is not just a guy that I like that got shafted. This is years and years and years and years and years of, exactly, of storytelling. This is beyond 2 years. There is no bigger match that you can have. There is no bigger star in the company outside of Roman himself than Cody Rhodes. And when Cody wins that belt, let me tell you, this man is a class act. He is the next John Cena. He is the next Hulk Hogan. He is your guy that's going to be the big baby face. That's going to move all the merch. It's going to be on all the talk shows. It's going to do all the radio calls. He's going to be a class act. And he always has been a class act his entire life. He has been that way. And not only that, in 15 minutes of screen time, you killed Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Championship as a belt and as a concept, Cody Rhodes as a character, and the Royal Rumble in 15 minutes. You took the Royal Rumble, which has always been since, a year or two after its inception, the winner gets the main event of WrestleMania. No ifs, ands, buts, coconuts outside of a couple of instances where the WWE Championship was on the line instead. Every year, that is the prize. You will main event WrestleMania. You. Doesn't matter. You get it. You win it. That's the whole prize. You took that, and Cody went, actually, nah, I'm good, and gave it to The Rock. So you flushed that down the toilet. You turned your biggest babyface into a moron in canon, giving up something that he has said that he has wanted for a year and a half. I want to beat Roman Reigns. Hey, guess what? You get a chance to beat Roman Reigns. Nah, I'm good. And finally, you had Roman Reigns cut a promo that buried Seth Rollins completely into the dirt, called the World Heavyweight Championship, and I quote, the Losers Bracket Championship, because every single person that has held the title or that has fought for the title, I have already beaten for this belt, so they couldn't win it off me, so you had to give them a different championship, which is in canon the reason that they made the belt. Triple H came out and said, we had to make a second championship because no one can beat Roman for the one he has. Like, that is the reason they gave. So Roman is not lying here. So we all know he's telling the truth. And then you said, and I quote, so Cody, you can be the best number 2 of all time, or you can take another shot at number 1. Your choice. And anyone who's a man, who's a real red-blooded man, knows even if you're gonna fail, when someone says that to you, you choose that you're gonna step up to the number 1. And you had Cody Rhodes tuck his tail between his legs and say, just give it to The Rock. I don't want it. Just give it to The Rock. It's stupid. It's the stupidest piece of booking I have ever seen. I was at the Royal Rumble. I was there. Tears came down my man face when Cody Rhodes won the Rumble and pointed, and even though he was this big from where I could sit, I could tell he was pointing at Roman Reigns' skybox and saying, you, Roman Reigns, you. And this time, you're not escaping me. And then The Rock comes in and uses his TKO board member power and says, no, mine. I want another WrestleMania main event that I'm going to steal away from a guy who deserves it more. And the saddest thing about this whole thing, well, it's not the saddest thing, but one of the saddest things about this whole thing is that you can say whatever the hell you want about CM Punk and everything that he said. CM Punk was right. The entire time, he has been right. WWE did not, and apparently does not, actively care about the people who break their backs each and every week for this company. They're going to just try and make money. And if they make money, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've been there for years, killing yourself, proving yourself. It doesn't matter if the story makes sense. It doesn't matter if the timeline makes sense. No, The Rock. No, Brock Lesnar. No, Goldberg. No, insert whatever name you want here. That's our guy. We're not moving. I don't care. I want what I want. And I really thought that when Vince was gone, it wouldn't happen again. And instead, not only has it happened again, this is the most egregious, stupid, asinine, out of place, out of touch, I don't care what adjectives you want to use, piece of booking that I have ever seen. I have been watching wrestling since I was 2 or 4 or whatever age. I've seen everything that you could possibly imagine. I've seen Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. where everybody booed for the whole match and Brock Lesnar flipped off the crowd in front of 45,000 people or whatever. I've seen The Fiend lose to Seth Rollins and laughed because I've gone, of course they're not going to have him win the belt. Why would they? It only makes perfect sense. But this, I mean, it would have been one thing for Rock to win the Rumble. If The Rock had come out at number 30 in the Rumble instead of Sami Zayn, and he'd thrown Cody Rhodes over last, and Rock had won the Rumble, and Rock had challenged Roman Reigns, I would have no problem. Yes, I'd be a little sad for Cody, of course, because I want him to finish the story. I'm a Cody fan,
So it
obviously.
would have been a logical. It would have been a logical story progression
Exactly.
if we would either had Rock win the Rumble or Rock versus Roman since pre-Rumble, and that would have never have changed.
Exactly. I would have had no problem with that. I'd have been like, you know what? It makes sense. Rock is, hey, Cody lost to The Rock. Rock won the Rumble. He gets to go fight. Fine. Wonder what they're going to do with Cody. This is going to be interesting. We're going to see how good. But instead, they chose to just have nothing make any sense. And the fact that you chose to do that to Cody and to the Royal Rumble and to Seth Rollins and to the World Heavyweight Championship and still have Cody Rhodes essentially tuck his tail between his legs and say, no, I'm going to go fight Seth, the guy that I've already beaten 3 times, and including one where half my body was detached in a Hell in a Cell. We all know Cody's going to beat Can or is going to beat Seth. So either you have Cody beat Seth again and everybody goes, yeah, obviously. Or you have Seth beat Cody and you're like, really? You just completely buried this guy now. Like, there's no recovering from this. So it is absolutely mind-bogglingly just, it's a catastrophe. This is not, I said this at the beginning, this is not a drill. This is not
So I have a
normal.
couple questions for you. So I'm sure that felt good, but I have a couple questions for you.
Uh-huh.
And actually, before I get to those questions, I'm still in the camp as egregious as it says. I don't know if I don't feel as extreme as you do, and I get it. I get your passion. I have, I know that your passion is the passion of, a huge majority of the WWE fan base right now. And again, I can see that. I can see you again, like I said before you went into your stuff. It's like unnecessarily messy road. If this was the goal, we didn't have to have Cody win the Rumble. But that still said, I feel like we still have to see where this goes. The match hasn't even been made official. It's all but official, most likely. I get that. But part of me is curious of what this press conference is going to be on Thursday because Roman's going to be there, Rock's going to be there, Cody's going to be there. Maybe he'll finally explain himself. Um, I and I honestly go back to Friday as this past Friday, with Roman's speech, and I honestly just felt like that was just an uber ultra heel response to what Rollins did and what Rollins said the previous Monday. I don't I don't look at it as burying Rollins personally, burying that title. I think everybody knows it's always the unified title, World Heavyweight Championship. I think that's kind of always been because I'd almost say the World Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championship are right here, where it's like those two U.S. The unified title until Cody gets it. So I don't know. Personally, I get where you're coming from. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't think we really know, and I understand why you say that. I think it's just a little harsh. Rollins has always been second fiddle to Roman. That belt's always been something. I know that's not very common for it. But I think it's just an ultra heel response. I didn't think of what you said about Cody kind of almost being, cowardly in a sense. I think that's kind of interesting take on it, which I don't necessarily disagree with. It's kind of like, yay, but maybe Rollins is right. what I thought of when you said that was, and this is one of my first questions for you. What if, and again, then we get back to only one title here where I'm going with, but what if a long-term plan or a short long-term plan? I know that makes sense, but um, where Rollins gets the World Heavyweight Championship and then puts both titles on the line versus Roman at SummerSlam or Survivor Series, whatever, back Berlin, whatever peel you want to put in the end of summer, fall, and they unify those belts, and then Cody can say, "Hey, I've got both," and then we unify all the lineage or whatever of all those belts. What something like that would a would a payoff like that ease the pain of this down the road?
No. So before I say anything about that, I do need to address something you said earlier. I agree with you that death threats, not only to The Rock, but to his family, that's way over the line. We all need to. I mean, I obviously didn't. No, but
No,
the people who are doing
I know
it,
you
knock
weren't.
it off. This is not worth saying things like that. Okay, so let me make that clear. As angry and as fired up and as absolutely just flabbergasted that I am, nothing in wrestling should ever go that far. Okay.
Yeah, nothing, and outside even nothing.
Yeah. So let's just start there. Second thing. So then let me ask you this, Dan. So let's just say you're right. Let's just say that they decided to unify the belts. I want to put this into totality for you then. So that means that because CM Punk got injured and Brock Lesnar wasn't available, instead of doing CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, and Brock Lesnar versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, what you have decided to do was not have Cody face Roman, which was not affected by Punk. Have Cody then beat Seth, which does not matter to Cody, and then unify the championships that you didn't plan on unifying because you decided to have Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble when he didn't have to, or you decided to change plans. None of it would make sense logistically. And number two, the worst crime. So Seth just did all of it for nothing. So Seth literally broke his back carrying Monday Night Raw for a full year for a championship that only he ever held.
Yeah, I didn't say that they should do that. I was just
right. No, I understand you're not saying should, but you asked me if that would ease the pain.
I did.
And no, it would not. There are two things that would ease the pain for me. Now, I can't speak for every Cody Rhodes fan out there. There are some Cody Rhodes fan that say, no, Cody Rhodes is main eventing night 2 of WrestleMania and he's beating Roman Reigns and I won't accept anything less than that. I'm even willing to compromise that.
Can I ask you one more question then?
Yeah, yes. Go.
And
right.
maybe this will play into your two answers, but I'm not sure. And I have absolutely no clue how you get to this point from where we are right now. And it probably makes even less sense than unifying the titles somewhere down the road. Could you somehow foresee this becoming a triple threat? And if it did, what are your thoughts there?
So that was not one of my two solutions. Obviously, I don't think anybody would really love that. I don't think Roman or Rock or Cody would love that. I think that it's much more impactful for both matches to be one-on-one.
Yes,
Obviously. I mean, I don't even think. I know that they would be more impactful.
I would agree there.
But there are pros. Obviously, Cody gets to finish his story. He has to pin Roman. That's the one thing. He can't pin The Rock. I swear to God, if Cody pins The Rock to beat Roman, I'm going to lose it if that were to happen. But he's got to pin Roman. So let's just assume that that's how it would be. It would just be the triple threat match, and Cody's pinning Roman like it should have been. And there you go. So yes, that would diminish the impact, but it would also allow Rock to not quite work as hard at his age when he hasn't been in the ring for a long time. So that's a pro. Cody obviously still finishes his story, which is a huge pro. And you can still say, you could still have, a one-on-one match next year with Roman and Rock at Mania if you wanted. Because maybe you could have Solo beat the crap out of The Rock, take The Rock out of the match, but Cody overcomes, pins Roman. Rock has a legitimate gripe that he never really got a fair shot. Maybe you could do that. I don't know. There's ways you could do it, but I don't think it's ideal. I think that if that's what you have to resort to, I would take it. I wouldn't love it. To me, there are two things that I would take. I mean, obviously, there's three, because the one would be just take it all back and do Cody versus Roman, and that's it. Like, screw you, Rock. Sorry, but no. Like, that would be really what I would want.
Get unless I don't think we're going to get unless Thursday changes that. Like, I'm still waiting on what happens.
And so I'm operating under the assumption that Rock versus Roman Reigns is happening at WrestleMania, whether any of us like it or not. That's what I am operating under. So if that's the case, you've already made your bed. There's two things that need that one of these two things has to happen. Number one, Cody Rhodes said, I'm coming for the championship. I'm coming for Roman Reigns. I want that championship. I want Roman Reigns, but not at WrestleMania. He has to fight Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber. He has to beat Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber. He has to defend the championship against Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Just do it now. Have Roman versus The Rock like you planned on, just not for the championship. I would accept that. Would it be great? I mean, I think it would be fine, because again, there's 60,000+ people in Australia. I think it would be really unique, but it's at 4:00 in the bleeping morning here. Like, there's not gonna, and 1:00 in the morning West Coast time. Like, you're gonna really not, like, people watching at home, your viewership's not gonna quite be there. So it's not gonna be as impactful. But I would take it, given where we're at, again. I'm going to try to put this out as quickly as possible before the press conference. Where we're at right now is Cody Rhodes got shafted. He's not fighting Roman for the belt. He's not finishing his story at WrestleMania. He's not, it's at least till after Mania where we're doing it. So right now, I would take that as that would be my number 2 option. My number 1 option would be, and I think this is probably where they should go now, and where they have to go now. I really don't think that there's much choice, because the fans have spoken. We do not want Cody Rhodes to not finish his story. What I think you have to do, which makes the most sense and gives everybody what they want, is at the press conference, you pivot. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, main events night 1. The Rock partially costs Roman Reigns the belt. You don't have to have him directly cost him. You can just have him come out and stop the interference, and Cody wins. And then he's so angry, he's going to destroy The Rock night 2. You end night 2 with Roman Reigns coming out on top, and then you move into Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for their rematch after that. I think you have to do, especially because you're not getting Punk Rollins. You got to do something else with Rollins. It doesn't have to main event WrestleMania anymore. I feel terrible for Seth Rollins in that instance. I truly do. He deserves a main event of WrestleMania. I am not saying he does not, but I think he should understand at this point he's facing a lesser caliber of opponent at this point, and he's injured. I think we can all understand Cody versus Roman or Rock versus Roman taking Seth's spot, and it sucks, and I hate it for Seth, truly. I'm saying that for a second time now.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to do. This is not like Cody's fault. That, like, it's not like Cody is shafting Seth. No, The Rock shafted Seth. This is The Rock's fault. This is WWE's fault for doing the stupidest thing you could have possibly done. They did this to themselves. So you want to piss off a guy who's never main evented WrestleMania and has deserved to main event WrestleMania for another year? Guess what? You screwed yourselves. You did it to yourself. You have no choice now. Sorry, Seth. You got shafted. We screwed up. You got shafted. That's on us. We'll make it up to you next year, hopefully, if you don't blow out your knee again. Like, it sucks. I understand that. But I think that that's the only way you can pivot is if, oh no, The Rock is facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But Cody Rhodes is also facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And I think that you have to do it that way because let's just say that as of last week, the plan was just to do Rock Roman, which I'm going to give my thoughts on what I think the deal is now that we've had more time. Let's just say that was your plan. And the entire Cody Rhodes, we want Cody backlash has forced you to change plans. You shouldn't do a triple threat because it's going to just destroy the whole thing. And you can't not give Cody his moment. I think at this point, to me, in my mind, that is out of the question because WWE knows fans will hijack every show. They will boo The Rock mercilessly. As soon as The Rock shows up somewhere, if he is facing Roman at Mania and Cody is not, they will boo him relentlessly. All day, every day, all the way through WrestleMania, they will boycott. As will I at my house. I will be booing nonstop. I will be. I don't care. Because this is not okay. The only thing that makes sense is doing both. One main events night one main events night two. You added in your match that you lost with the Gunther match or whatever. That's the only thing that makes sense to me to happen at this point. And you can say, hey, listen, we thought everybody wanted Rock Roman. Obviously, we were wrong. So we gave you all what you wanted. Even if it's not true, you can still say it.
Right.
So, again, to me, that's the only thing that makes sense. And I'll tell you what, Dan, you mentioned the press conference. You mentioned Thursday. I'm going to be glued to my seat. I'm going to be sitting there waiting because my goodness, if they double down on Roman Rock after everything that the fans have done and said, screaming at you that this is not what we want, screaming at you that Cody needs to finish his story at this year's WrestleMania and we will not accept anything else, then at this point, the only thing that I can surmise is that either Triple H has lied to each and every one of us about how much he cares about his fans, or number two, he lied when he said that TKO has no creative influence in what he does as a company, because he has said both of those things.
Right.
One of those two things are not true if they double down. That either means that TKO is forcing Triple H to keep this match, and The Rock is forcing him to keep this match, or Triple H, and I've said this to you jokingly, that Triple H apparently hates the big baby faces. He only just wants heel champions, and he only books the heels properly to be dominant because that's what he was. Maybe that's true. Maybe he just says, nope, no baby faces, just all heels, because heels are the heart of the business, and so no baby faces, never. No Sami Zayn, no LA Knight, no Cody Rhodes, no nobody, just only Roman Reigns forever. Like,
I mean,
one of those things has to be true.
We still have 3 years to get to Bruno, so.
Yeah, well, at that point, you might as well. Once you pass Hogan, screw it. Just have Roman show up once a year at WrestleMania with the belt and just go, hey, guys, remember me? I'm the champion. Spear. Why not? At that point,
I'm gonna throw a third alternative out to you for.
I'm not gonna like him, but go ahead, man.
For a match. I mean, no, if you don't mean that, but that's what I want. So here's how I see this playing out too. at Mania, you have your Rock and Roll match. Who tries to interfere? But Solo, of course. Who comes down to help neutralize Solo? But Cody. All right. So I think that's fair. I think that's somewhat logical. I think you could get there. But then I think to keep everything with Roman still, we get a debut of another Bloodline member in Jacob Fatu. And that to me that first that can help, it'll hurt, help. I don't know. It's another spitball, and I was kind of writing down, thinking of in the car while I was driving today. But it's where you'll get your Rock match, get Rock Roman match. You keep the title on Roman, so Cody can take it off of him. Cody's like, I'm not disappearing just yet. And we also get another bloodline member to debut to keep the bloodline story going somehow. And then so once you have that Roman taking, but then you at Backlash, you can pivot to Rock and Cody coming to go versus uh, Roman and Solo, and Rock pins Solo, and then you can move on to Cody and Roman at Berlin, Bash in Berlin. Cody went there. I don't know. That was the idea I have. I honestly like your idea of Chamber. If I think, well, my thought, on the Chamber thought, I think you could actually go. I think it'd actually be fun to kind of almost punish Roman and put a Chamber match there for the title. I don't care. You put in those 4 other slots. I don't care. You put those 4 other slots in that Chamber, but where you make Roman start that match. Cody's in there, obviously. Cody pins Roman in at the end of the time. At the end of the Chamber, that's where he takes the title. And then you can get Rock Roman, at Mania. The other thought I had too of your of going off to two main events for Roman at Mania. Bill one, just so you can make sense of how you're advertising both. Bill one as Cody Roman for the title, for the Universal title on night 1, and then Rock Roman for night 2 with the true tribal chief match. Tribal chief head of the table title all on the line.
Yeah.
Part of me would almost think like, okay, to me I think it's a tough spot to have Roman pull double duty on WrestleMania in a sense of, I think whatever
He's wrestled 6 times
yeah,
this
no,
year.
but
He can
I
suck
think
it up for 2 nights.
no, he definitely can. I think from a standpoint of, though, it's like if Cody wins, then it's gonna be like your full Roman truths are like me, like, well, no wonder he lost the Rock on night 2 for Tribal Chief if Roman were to lose. Because I don't know where you'd go, because that's something I was curious about your thought too. It's like, but if you have the double main event like you're talking, if Roman were to lose night 2, it's like, well, how, it's like, well, of course Roman lost. He just wrestled night 1. I don't know who you have winning a Rock from the match right now.
Roman. I wouldn't have Rock win, regardless of what it was for. But
and then I think if you have Roman lose night 1, win night 2, that just kind of furthers his legend without, but the title is moved on.
Yeah, and for me, I just think that they've got. I mean, I don't care logistically what it has to look like at that point. You have to do that. You have to do both matches. Like I just, the only other way that I could see it going, which would be a lot less impactful, but at least I guess it would quote unquote get the job done, would be you play it out to where Cody says, "No, I'm not facing Roman Reigns. I'm sorry. I made a deal with The Rock. I can't do it." And then you have Roman face Randy at the Chamber. Randy somehow pulls off a huge upset, and Cody's eyes light up, and he goes, "Oh my God, I can win the champ. I can fight for the championship, and I don't have to fight Roman. I can fight Randy instead. I challenge Randy." Which, again, not the best. Would
Right.
super love that, but
Right.
quote unquote gets the job done. Cody wins the belt at Mania. Roman versus Rock still happens. You wipe your hands clean. There you go. But all that being said, Dan, I think that whether it started out this way or whether it became this way, I think that this is all a work. I think that they are screwing with us now. I don't know if it started that way. I truly don't think it did. I truly think that either TKO forced Triple H to do The Rock versus Roman instead, not realizing how horrible of a catastrophe it would cause, or Triple H truly in his heart was like, yeah, people might not be super happy that Cody's not going to get his chance, but everybody loves The Rock, so it'll be fine. And then when he realized it wasn't at all or even remotely close to fine, he was like, oh no, oh boy, I've made a grave error. This is not good. I need to fix it. And now they're fixing it. Because again, if they double down, there's going to be riots. I saw a tweet today that said I don't remember the guy's name, but the guy that, does Busted Open Radio a lot with Bully Ray, he's holding a actual rally in New York City. I don't know, someday this week, or I don't remember when, but like soon, to get people to like actually all get together and like start like chanting "We want Cody" and signs and like trying to raise money. And like I'm like, what? Like, this is how far this has gone, to where people are actually making real life protests. Stan, this isn't Daniel Bryan occupying Raw via storyline. This is people actually doing rallies.
That
word. You can say that it's stupid, which it kind of is, but at the
It
same
is.
time, like,
It is.
dude, if there's enough people that are willing to do it, there's something. It's not just me. This is seriously hurting probably millions of people, and I say probably, definitely, like 400 some thousand tweets of "We want Cody." That's just the people who tweeted it. Never mind the people who either wanted to tweet it but never got around to it, would have tweeted it if they had Twitter, or work for some other wrestling promotion or work for WWE that can't tweet it, although some wrestlers did, which is another reason why I think it's a work. Because why would Ricochet tweet "We want Cody" if the company was like, dude, I'm going to fire you or suspend you for that? You're a moron. Like, why would you do that? Like, keep this hush hush. "We want Cody's" not a thing. You work for...
Right. Well, I mean, supposedly the WWE was handing out signs that said "We want Cody" at Raw last night.
So either they are actual sadists, or this is a work. Like, if they are doubling down and they are going through this much effort to where Michael Cole said, "I want Cody Rhodes to finish his story at WrestleMania," like, the guy who's talking to all the millions of people watching is saying, "I agree with you, fans." Right. And they go, actually,
and that's why I'm kind of like, okay, what is really truly going on?
And we'll let you do your chants, and we'll let you do your tweets, but here's a big heaping plate of steamed coral. Come on, chomp chomp, nom 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 nom. Oh, you want a Krabby Patty? No, coral, nom 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 nom. Come on, here comes the plane. Come on, just eat it.
Well, I mean, speaking of Twitter. Speaking of Twitter or X, whatever. But did you see Cody Rhodes tweet too? I saw Van Vliet like posted on Instagram where Cody
Yeah,
was like, "Appreciate the passion, but trust me."
yeah, I think that there's two ways you could go with that. One, I think that WWE, I don't know which one's true, but you could say WWE told him to tweet that because people were sending death threats and sabotaging the show, and they were trying to get people to stop sabotaging the show. Newsflash, didn't work. The second reason is because it's a work, and he knows that he's getting his match, and people were sabotaging the show, and so
Yeah.
he took it upon himself to say, I
It
appreciate
to
it, but
me
this
it's
is getting a little out of hand, and they need to at least be comforted enough to say that I'm going to say to trust me. One of
to
two
me
things.
though if it's a I don't know. I'm on the fence of using the word work, but I know what you mean by it. But to me, if the end goal is to do the double main event for Roman, where it's Rhodes night one, Rock night two, if that was I just don't get why Cody would have phrased it. I want your title, but not at WrestleMania.
Well, the reason is because I don't think it started out as a work. I think genuinely the company either was forced to do Rock versus Roman and so had to pivot
Yeah,
the week after the Rumble. So like they had planned on doing Rock Roman and then like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in that range. TKO said, "No, you were doing Rock. I don't care how you do it. You have to destroy all of wrestling. Destroy the belt, destroy the Rumble, destroy Cody, destroy it all, burn it." Like that I think that that's what happened. I think they had to stop laughing at me. I think that they had to I think
can't
that they
help it.
had to do it because they were forced to. And then when the whole backlash happened, I think that Triple H went, now you see what you did? Stop meddling in my business. I know what the hell I'm doing." And they were
Yeah,
like, crap. Well, now we've got to, all right. Like now we got to
yeah,
fit. Like I think that they originally planned on seriously doing Cody versus Seth at Mania because the TKO people didn't understand. They
yeah,
don't care. They're just in it for money. So
yeah.
like they don't
They
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 don't
they're
care.
looking at
But
the bottom
Triple H
line. They're like,
cares.
what's the biggest bottom line we can get? And I get that. It's just more of if that was the thing, I just wish they would have stuck with it from the very beginning when Rock came on Raw before Rumble.
Yep.
But
Oh, do you have any
if it would
idea?
have happened that way, we would have done this podcast, and there would be even more people talking about WWE.
Exactly. Like, do you have any idea how like slightly depressed I was that The Rock wasn't even at the Rumble in any way, didn't interfere in Roman's match, didn't enter the Rumble, no
I
words from The Rock. And then when Cody won, we were all like, oh, well, it's obviously because Cody is facing Roman at Mania, and we're not doing Rock this year. We're saving it till next year, or we're saving it for a Saudi show, whatever. Like,
yeah,
that's obviously what they're doing. When if you wanted, that's why I don't think it was the original plan. I think that TKO forced their hand after the Punk injury and after the Brock stuff. I think that they forced their hand because if it was going to be Rock Roman, then you either would have had to have somebody else win the Rumble, Punk, obviously assuming that he didn't get injured, at the time, have Punk win the Rumble,
yeah,
face Seth, and then Rock just come out and interfere, or just have Rock win the Rumble, and everybody goes, "Oh my God, The Rock, why?" And just like lose their minds. I would have lost my mind. The Rock is
yeah,
my favorite wrestler of all time.
yeah.
Like, y'all heard me say that, right? Like, he is my favorite wrestler. This hurts like deep to my soul to be talking about how freaking upset I am at The Rock right now. Like,
Yeah,
it
I think
hurts.
a lot of people are in your position. I'm in your position where it's like, yeah, who doesn't love The Rock? But holy cow, thanks for hijacking the best story in WWE right now. All of
It might
wrestling
be
right
the. I was gonna say it might be the best story in WWE history. I don't know if I'll quite go that far, but it's definitely the one of the best stories of the last decade, if not the
now.
2000s. Like it's up
Yeah, hands
there.
down,
And The Rock
hands
just
down.
went and just kind of, yeah, exactly. Just I'm good. I'm The Rock. I can do what I want. And it's so frustrating, but again, I think that the only way that this makes sense is if you do both matches. Like you've got to do both matches at this point. There's no way on God's green earth that anyone's going to be okay with Rock and Roman now. Like we've seen it. I was worried all weekend. I was like, okay, I understand that social media is one thing, but the live crowds is another thing. And if wherever Raw is does not step up and does not voice their displeasure, WWE's going to go, oh, it's just freaking social media trolls. They're probably a bunch of bots. Go ahead, do whatever you want. But they showed out. They did their part. They brought the signs, or were handed the signs, apparently. And
supposedly, just a rumor. Don't know if it's true.
well, I mean, obviously, I said it when I was watching Raw last night. I'm like, there's no way that all of those people use the exact same font and the exact same color scheme and 3 different worded signs. We want Cody Rhodes, hashtag WWE, or we, or whatever the hell all the different combos were. There's no way. They had to have made all those signs, and they were all in a conglomerate. I'm sorry, did a family of 98 people just get exactly those seats and all brought those signs?
I mean,
No,
family,
like there's
Midwest family with a bunch of second and third cousins. You never know.
yeah, sure, yeah. The whole Hawaii family was out there, and even they hated it. They didn't want to see Roman versus Rock either. No, obviously I'm just kidding, but like I think clearly at this point it's a work, or at the very least, these guys are such sadists that they just want to hurt us. Like it's a we'll hand you the signs. We'll let you get all your energy out. But guess what? You're gonna pay money to watch WrestleMania to see Rock versus Roman, aren't you? Aren't you, pig? Aren't you? And like that, I have been watching NXT for a decade. 0 times has Triple H ever done that to his fans. 0. He was known for paying off stories. Now, were there times where we may have wanted to go in a different direction, or we wanted a guy to hold the belt a little longer, or this or that? Of course. He was notorious for big baby faces losing their belts immediately. Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black, Tommaso Ciampa, like all these guys would lose all the big matches, and your Finn Balor, who was a bad guy, would hold the belt for a year. Oh, Keith Lee. I forgot Keith Lee held it for like 11 minutes. Adam Cole held it for like 400 some days. Tommaso Ciampa was going to hold it for a really long time when he was a bad guy, not when he was a good guy, but then he got hurt, and so that kind of derailed all the plans. Like, he was known when DIY won the tag titles, they lost him immediately. When Johnny Gargano won the North American title, he lost it immediately. When Velveteen Dream won the North American title, he won like 2 matches and then he lost it. Like he was notorious for that, which was a little annoying, but he would pay off all the long-term stories. The good guy would always win. They just might not hold the belt for very long after, but they would win. And I can understand that, because I mean, how many times have we seen big baby faces get the belt and then their title reign is just horrible afterwards? Rey Mysterio, Daniel Bryan. It's not Daniel Bryan's fault, he got hurt, but point being, like, we've seen it so many times. So I can kind of understand you not wanting to overplay that card and, take the belt off him rather quickly, and that's okay. But he's never, I mean, this is not only spitting in our faces, this is spitting on our faces, throwing boiling hot water on our faces, then spitting on us again, then peeing on us, and then flicking us off. Like, jeez, I can't. I'm losing my mind. Well, I mean, we'll just have to see what happens on Thursday, Dan. But
yeah, I can't wait.
We're wrapping up here. So, is there anything else that you wanna bring up before I let you not have to hear me scream?
No, I think we both kind of said our piece with the whole situation. Like you said, Thursday's press conference, I think, will either give us better answers, or it's gonna answer one of 2 things. It's gonna either give us the answer of, okay, everything's fine, or, oh boy, KKO, all they want is money. I want to give Rock benefit of the doubt. I want to give Triple H benefit of the doubt. this TKO Endeavor thing is so brand new, where that's where my mind would go as well. I think if they do double down and we don't get we get Rhodes versus anyone else. I like I said earlier too. I've wouldn't complain about Rhodes beating Brock or too many our names again. I wouldn't mind Cody beating Roman at Chamber. Wouldn't quite have the same effect. It would still be a nice cap to the last almost 2 years. Or 2 years, because I mean that did start with a Rumble. But yeah, no, I mean, um, yeah, as long as they don't double down, I think we can and and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, we're kind of talking about Rumble. One thing we talked about last week on our Rumble reaction, we talk about Braun Breaker. Just love him even more after the tag after winning the Dusty Cup. Him,
Mm-hmm.
him and Corbin are a much better team than I thought. I love how they came out on bikes. I think that actually kind of threw Corbin for surprise. Um, yeah, no, I mean I think that was very very good. Glad to see them. I don't know. It's kind of I thought it was interesting because since it was them versus Trick and Carmelo. Because I mean, I think it would have been weird for those two to win the Dusty Cup, but at the same time, they still all four did a wonderful job in that match. Nobody looked bad in that match at all, which is weird to say in a tag team match, but I mean, I felt that just overall that was great. Braun is just I can't wait to his main roster. It might be a little while now. Be interested to see. You know, trying to remember who holds the NXT tag titles right now, and they don't. The name isn't coming to my mind right now at the top of my head, but I would be. I guess maybe. Would you be surprised? I guess if the Wolf Dogs didn't win the tag title championships.
Um, I'm a little back and forth. I think that the answer is probably not. I don't think that they will. The issue comes that they rob based on the fact that the D'Angelo family is the tag champs. Like they probably should beat the D'Angelo family. Like it's not like you've got some big imposing tag team that you can like really book to have them win. Like when Aleister Black and Ricochet won the Dusty Cup and they were facing the War Raiders at the time.
Yep.
And it's like, well, you can really go either way. I mean, they're both fantastic. So let's get. Not to say the D'Angelo family isn't fantastic, but compared to Braun and Corbin, I mean, they're animals. I mean, Braun was NXT champion for over a year, and he was multiple time NXT champion, and then obviously Baron Corbin's been on the main roster for most of his career, and he knows exactly what like they just shouldn't. It shouldn't make sense, but at the same time, like Braun's getting called up.
Yeah.
Like I'd hate to see him get stuck in NXT for longer, but I don't know. So I'm kind of going back and forth. Would I be shocked if they lost? No. Should they? I don't know. I'm really back and forth on it.
Yeah, well, then that's what I was curious about you because I mean, I've been trying to watch the NXT product more, but that was kind of where I was like, okay, it seems like great that they won this, but it's like in a they're like a semi haphazard tag team, not a true tag team like the D'Angelo family, so that's where I could almost see them as like, if you I don't know when they're supposed to be able to have that match. No, it's the number one contenders, but I don't know. So I don't know when that match would be, but I feel like if it's at least another month away, you could kind of build to where they have another match or two together, and you build ascension between the two, and then at the match against General Family, that's the reason they lose. I mean, that's a very easy, tried and true trope in tag team wrestling. And it wouldn't really hurt their characters. Then you could leave Corbin in NXT for 6 more months, and Braun gets his call up prior to or at Mania or right after Mania or whatever, and as we've talked about. Yeah, no, I just I thought that match was great though. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that match, in particular.
Oh yeah, they needed to figure. I don't know how you can get to a pay per view and not have your ropes figured out.
That was
That's
brutal
really
for Braun. Oh my
that's
word! But he just
really like that's just
did it
upsetting,
and was
man. I
right
mean,
back
you're
up.
you're a you're a you just signed a $5 billion freaking contract and you can't go like this. I mean, it's yeah, that was annoying. But really, I think the main it's been such a rough weekend. Uh, My second favorite wrestler that I put my stock in at this point in the company is Trick Williams. So I guess I just took L's all throughout the weekend. I mean, literally, Trick lost 2 matches at Vengeance Day.
Yeah,
And it's like,
but I
so,
mean,
I think a lot of people were really hoping that Trick would be the guy that dethroned Ilya Dragunov. And he still could be, I suppose. If you
yeah,
want to do that
it's
rematch down the road, I think you definitely can. But I mean, man, it just was a dude. I mean, you
yeah.
can't tell me that Trick Williams didn't. I mean, yeah, he had arrived already, but in ring, that's the not even remotely close the best match he's ever put on. It's not even close.
And he was excellent. I've definitely have tried to get my learning curve up on him quick. When he came out to SmackDown, I think the SmackDown before Rumble, and they were instantly cheering whoop that Trick. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
like the main everybody knows about him. Everybody knows his catchphrase. It's not just an NXT thing. Like people know about him. To me that match, you know, I think you could go a couple different ways there to where you do a couple blow-off matches between him and Mello. Mello's basically a call up on SmackDown right now too. I mean, maybe you do a blow-off match for them two up there. I don't think so, but do a blow-off match between them, one or two. And then you could either have that taken care of and Trick goes to Raw, Mello goes up to SmackDown, or he puts Mello over and Mello moves on, Trick stays, challenges Eli one more time, and then he loses, and then I don't know. It seems weird to say he loses and then he goes to the main roster, but he could. But I mean, I think, I almost feel like you could just blow it off between Trick and Carmelo and then just promote both and not even put Trick back into the NXT title picture.
Yeah. I kind of wish that Trick had. I kind of wish that Trick had won the belt just because I think it would make. I mean, yes, obviously Trick versus Mello will be great regardless, but I think it just would have been so much bigger had they pulled a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like Trick just gets this huge career defining win. Mello was there. He hugs him.
Yeah,
Trick turns around, the happiest moment of his life. He turns around and then he gets attacked.
yeah.
And then
And
it's like, no, I want that championship. I'm never gonna let you. I'm never gonna let you have the spotlight. I'm never gonna let you have this. Like, I'm gonna take it all from you. And but we're not getting that. But I'll tell you what. I've been thinking about this because I was really banking on Trick being the guy, and I don't know if he's gonna be now to take it off Dragunov, which I guess he could be. He could easily beat Mello. Mello goes to the main roster, and then Trick, moves right back in and challenges Dragunov again and beats him later. You could do that. But hear me out here. The other guy that I think, especially if you're gonna do Trick versus Mello at whatever the Stand and Deliver. I was like, what's the NXT WrestleMania? Stand and Deliver.
right. I didn't know if they had one around the chamber or not.
Yeah, not that I know. Well, I think they actually do have another event coming up in a few weeks. I don't remember what it's called though. But um, I think if you're gonna do, I think you're doing Trick versus Mello at Stand and Deliver. I think that's pretty obvious. Your blood feud. There's got to be one.
Yeah,
I think that unless you're just gonna have a kind of second tier match, then if you say you want somebody to take the belt off Ilya at Stand and Deliver, I think it should be Obafemi. I think it should be Obafemi already. Dude,
he's
he's a
just
stud already. A stud already. He is the entrance, the presence. I mean, just his physicality in the ring. This is what Omos should be. This is a guy that makes everything look like it hurts. His
Yep.
presence in the ring makes you feel like you're in danger all the time. He threw Dragon Lee around like it was nobody's business. And Dragon Lee put on a great match. And the fact
Yep.
that Obafemi, who's a big, big, big dude, could keep up with Dragon Lee, even though he's not a high flyer, I think goes leaps and bounds. And the guy's been wrestling for like 8 months.
I know he's
He's
so brand new
barely
to
done
this.
anything. But I
Yeah.
think he's, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know, like, if this is even, if the company feels this way. I think he's ready now. I think you just do it. Just have Obafemi go right to the top and hold both belts.
Yeah. It's not like they've never done that before.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, if you don't think he's ready, which honestly I don't think they're going to do that, I think it would be a little haphazard, and you'd really push him to the moon really quickly, and that doesn't always work out. Maybe just do Braun and Ilya. They haven't had a match yet, as far as I can remember, for the
Oh,
NXT
interesting.
Championship. And if you're moving Braun up to the main roster anyway, just have him go out with a loss. And then you can move on to, if you want to do Trick after that, and then have Trick win
And there is
right
another
around
PLE. Yeah.
Mayish, early June-ish.
Right.
Then, Ilya can debut shortly after that on Raw or SmackDown, I think. I think that's
And
probably fine.
you have the PLEs to do this because there is actually another PLE. So the weekend after, just like Vengeance Day was the weekend after Rumble, NXT has Roadblock first weekend of
Roadblock,
March.
that's right. Yep, yep, yep.
So there's Roadblock on Stand and Deliver. But to your point, again, pick whomever for Ilya for Roadblock, and that's the kind of appropriate for Trick and Carmelo probably have them there have their big blow off there, and then Trick wins, Mello goes up, or Trick is like one more time, Ilya, let's go at me, and Ilya one more, and one thing I just thought of too, when you're talking about Dragon Lee and Obi, I almost I hope they don't rush too much NXT talent up now because they just put now obviously the women's division is a little bit different, but Tiffany Stratton's up now on SmackDown because her Naomi officially signed, but Carmelo's been teased. So obviously Carmelo and Braun we're pretty much expecting to see by Mania or Mania weekend. I would say same with Dragon Lee. Um, because I mean I don't think you take that title off them and keep them. I don't know. But we have three people who have been teased up and down, between Braun and Carmelo and Dragon Lee. So it's like, and Trick having the NXT title, while I would keep him down in NXT a little bit longer, wouldn't be a bad thing just because we don't want too much talent from NXT to go up to the main roster, then all of them get lost all of a sudden.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
trust I trust Triple H better than that, but
Yeah, and I agree, but I'll tell you what, this was probably the most memorable breakout tournament in quite a while for NXT. I think both the men and the women, with this new NIL stuff, I mean, they are just bringing in superb athletes from all over the place that, may not have anywhere else to go. And so they say, "Hey, I'm a great athlete. Let's see if this wrestling thing sticks." Like Tiffany Stratton, like Obafemi, like Lola Vice. Like these are people that really like came out of nowhere, and they're learning how to do this in the best possible way. And so I think that even if you do kind of bring all these guys and gals up to the main roster, kind of over the next 6 months, I think you're still going to be fine. Now, obviously, right now, with all of the absolute baffling amounts of talent that you have in NXT, that's why so many more people are watching NXT, is because you have that much high caliber talent all at once. I mean, Baron Corbin and Braun, obviously Trick and Mello, Ilya Dragunov is still there, Obafemi, Dragon Lee. You had Wesley. Unfortunately, he ended up getting injured. He was probably close to getting called up, though, anyway, beforehand. Then, obviously, on the women's side, you had Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez, Lyra Valkyria, Kiana James, and whatever the other chick's name is that they're kind of doing stuff together. I forget her name. There's just so many
Aladon,
great
Alba
names.
Fry, they were just called up, not too long ago as a tag team.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just abundance. It is a hilarious amount of talent in NXT right now. So I think you got to get rid of some so that other people can shine. And quite frankly, even if okay, take Braun out of there, take Mello out of there, take Tiffany Stratton out of there, heck, even take Roxanne Perez out of there. Those four people, and then maybe take Dragon Lee, but he was really sent down as a replacement anyway. He kind of had already gotten called up, so I don't really count that. Like, take those four people up, you're still fine. I mean, you still got
Oh
Dragunov,
yeah,
you still got Trick Williams, you still got Baron Corbin, you still got Obafemi and all the other guys that came out of the breakout tournament. You still got all those other tag teams. Your Chase Hughes, your D'Angelo families, your Out the Muds, your what's the other team? Blade and whatever. I can't think of their names, but yet a lot of
the
crazy
talent
amounts of
is
talent.
deep again in NXT, and that's nice to see. It's deep
Yeah,
again.
for sure. For the first time in years. I think obviously since 2018. I mean, I'm looking at 2018 and I just like laugh at the roster that NXT had. It's like, oh my, no wonder why we were all having such a good time. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Point being, I think that they're going to be fine. But the key is that if you call all of them up at once, what's going to happen to each of them individually on the main roster? It
right.
breaks my heart that Brock Lesnar's not around because goodness, he could have done so much good. I mean, honestly, the story that I had talked about multiple times on this, where he gets killed by Gunther and then he gets killed by Breaker, like you could have made 2 stars there. I mean, you
Yep.
really could have. And that's obviously not going to happen now, it seems, unfortunately. So you got to do something else. But again, Braun Breaker's not a guy that's just going to toil. I mean, he's toiled long enough in NXT. They basically held him back from doing anything of note for the last year because they didn't want to call him up yet, which is fine. I mean, I'd rather you do that at NXT than call him up and do nothing. That's fine. So I hope that they do something with him. Tiffany Stratton's kind of the same way. She's just way too good, and everybody can't stand her, which is exactly what you're looking for in a slimy, just gross heel. Like, we just
Yeah.
don't like you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Roxanne
Well, yeah, I mean,
Perez is
she signs a
young
contract
and
to slap
fun, and I
someone
think you can
as soon
really
as
get
she signed
behind
a
her.
contract.
Right, exactly. And then, oh gosh, who's then Dragon Lee? I mean, we already know Dragon Lee's a stud. Who knows what his ceiling is necessarily, but I think he'll be a really fun guy to have around, and he'll put on some great matches. I mean, dude, did you see the match that him and Pete Dunne put on like 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago on
I did
SmackDown
not.
for
I
the
did
North
not.
American? My wife and I were watching it, and my wife can't stand Pete Dunne. She hates him.
Oh,
And even she was like, that was really good. Like, they just put on an absolute barn burner on free TV. Like, just so good, just super quick pace and a
and
lot of counters and kicks to the head. And just, it was just so much
that's what I
fun.
hope
So,
we
like,
see with these new, with some fresh talent on both men and women's side. It's like we don't need long matches, but let's see some matches, even if it's only 6 8 minutes. Let's see some good matches, a lot of moves, a lot of fast moving. Just let's get a small taste, and then that's going to get fans wanting more of them.
for sure. For sure. Well, all
But
righty,
yeah, that's.
Dan.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
So, talk at the same time there, I think. Yeah, no, I mean, I was hoping to kind of get you out of the pull up a little bit with talking about NXT. I kind of forgot about the trick thing there with you, but at the same time, the future is still bright, and I don't know. Part of me is kind of glad we knew the heel turn was coming. So I'm kind of glad they pulled it. I thought it was weird in a way, but you open the door for their one off or a couple or a few one off, a few matches or whatever, and he saw the good excuse to go against Ilya because he was like, hey, if my former friend, if my foe now wouldn't have knocked out the ref, you'd have been down, plenty of time. I would have had a title kind of thing. And, you know, it's a trope that's used a lot, but it's simple. It's simple. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, no, I think it's obviously we wait for the press conference, see what happens there. Chambers up next, so.
Chambers up next. Well, all right, Dan. I appreciate you hopping on today. Sorry I couldn't get you in the room, but honestly, it's probably better for your ears. So that worked out. But hey,
I
thanks
don't
for
see any
coming on and
cracks in the
doing this
wall.
and talking about all this. Sorry.
I don't see any cracks or punches of hole punched in the wall.
No,
So
not on camera, but ceiling and stuff. It's real. It's bad. It's actually right here, like right above camera line, is the ceiling collapsing. It's like right no, but we'll let's just hope that they do what they got to do at the press conference. But thank you all so much. Let us both know what you guys think. I mean, are you on Team Cody? Are you on Team Rock? What'd you think of the NXT Vengeance Day pay-per-view or PLE, excuse me? This past weekend. Let me know all your guys' thoughts in the comments section, and we will see you all next time.